I talked about 27 times our company almost died, and the first reason I talked about was when Apple pulled us out of the App Store. Let's zoom into that and talk about when can that happen and how to react when that happens. Every time you submit an app to the App Store, whether it's a new one or an update, it gets reviewed by Apple before it is approved to be on the App Store. Now, apps can get rejected for a variety of reasons, including if the reviewer thinks you're violating the terms of the App Store. Now, normally when they're rejecting a particular version of the app, they just give you some notes, you go fix it, you re-upload. Most likely, they're going to approve it. But every now and then, they will go through an audit of the App Store to especially review newly growing apps that are rising in popularity, to see if there's anything they don't like. And during one of those audits, they removed our app. Why? Because they saw some teenage usernames in our system that they thought were problematic. It's nothing that you wouldn't see on Instagram or TikTok, but obviously, since we were a newly rising app, they took us out. That was also a time when Apple was going through an audit and they removed a lot of apps. So we were not the only ones that were impacted. First of all, we appealed through the usual channels, which are very slow. You never know when someone's going to be assigned to review your case or your appeal. And then eventually that happens and someone will send you some notes which will not make sense. And then you want to ask to speak to somebody. And then eventually you get hold of somebody, you talk to them. They cannot resolve the issue. And it keeps going until you are able to convince them to give you some time with a manager who you can speak with. Again, no resolution. So this kept going. So one day I created a slide deck that outlined what they reviewed us for and how other apps, especially the popular ones like Instagram and other places, had far worse things going on for which they were not punished, kind of pointing out that they are taking a shot at small companies and it was very unfair. I was so proud of the slide deck I created because they were all facts. Never, ever do that. When you challenge that kind of authority that has power to kill your business, you do not mess with that. So eventually we heard back and the answer was, you're lucky that we're not canceling your developer account, so you feel free to develop another app, but this app is dead. We got the message loud and clear and we did build a new app. But then you ask, how should we deal with situations like these? Well, if you're building a serious app and if you think you're building a big company, you want to start building relationships with the Apple partnerships team. You want to have people on your side who know you and who recognize what you're building and can get behind to support that. So after all that happened and we published a new app, we did build those relationships. Apple then went on to feature us a couple times on the App Store. So that's the solution.